It starts with a lie. Not a big one, just a little twist. A soldier's letter that exaggerates a victory. A commander's report that downplays a defeat. A general's bulletin that reframes reality. And then, before anyone notices, the lie becomes a headline. The headline becomes the truth. And the truth? The truth doesn't matter anymore. Because by the time it catches up, a nation is already cheering. That's how Napoleon Bonaparte conquered more than Europe. He conquered minds. And he did it with something far more dangerous than cannons. He used propaganda. But not the boring kind. Not the stale posters or dusty leaflets. No. Napoleon engineered narratives. Epic, emotional, intoxicating stories that made people believe. Believe in glory. Believe in victory. Believe in him. And 200 years later, another man picked up that blueprint and brought it to the age of algorithms. Donald Trump didn't just copy Napoleon's tactics, he updated them, he digitized them, and he turned them into a spectacle. But let's go back to where the manipulation began. The year is 1805. Napoleon is riding high. His armies are moving fast. Austria, Prussia, Russia, every power in Europe is on edge. But war is messy, it's brutal, it doesn't always go according to plan. So what does Napoleon do? He writes the story himself, literally. He begins publishing the bulletins of the Grand Army, official dispatches written by him or his generals, filled with emotional victories and sanitized defeats. No independent journalists, no fact-checkers, just a direct line from the battlefield to the public's imagination. The bulletins didn't just report the war, they created it. Take the Battle of Austerlitz. Napoleon's bulletin claimed, "The enemy is completely broken. Their army is annihilated. Our losses are minimal." But in truth, thousands of French soldiers died. The win was real, but the version told to the French public, it was cinematic. It wasn't just news, it was nation building. People read those bulletins in cafes, on the streets, at home. And they didn't just believe them, they felt them. Pride, glory, unity. And that was Napoleon's genius. He understood that controlling information is more powerful than controlling land. Because if you control the story, you control the way people fight, the way they die, the way they remember. Fast forward 215 years. A man sits alone at 3 a.m. tweeting from a gold-plated apartment. He's not in a war zone, he's not on a horse, but he's doing the same thing, crafting a reality. Donald J. Trump didn't need bulletins. He had Twitter. No middleman, no editors, just 280 characters of raw narrative injection. He called the press fake. He called critics enemies. He called his rallies historic, even when they weren't. Every tweet, a mini bulletin. Every post, a declaration of ideological victory. And just like Napoleon's dispatches, they weren't meant to inform. They were meant to ignite. Trump didn't need to silence newspapers. He buried them in noise. He didn't need to shut down dissent. He drowned it in spectacle. The tactic was familiar, but the battlefield had changed. Napoleon had horses. Trump had hashtags. Napoleon had censors. Trump had an army of retweeters. Napoleon used bulletins to boost morale. Trump used tweets to bend reality. And here's the scary part. Both of them were effective. Not because they lied all the time, but because they mixed truth and fiction until you couldn't tell the difference. When Napoleon lost, he spun it as strategic repositioning. When Trump lost, he cried fraud, and millions believed him. Different centuries, same weapon. But let's ask the hard question. Why did it work? Why did entire populations fall in line? Why did lies, cleverly wrapped in patriotism, outweigh facts? Because humans don't crave truth. They crave meaning. Facts don't unify people. Stories do. And both Napoleon and Trump were master storytellers. Not because they were honest, but because they were compelling. Napoleon gave the French people a myth of destiny. Trump gave his followers a myth of persecution. Both built identity out of illusion, and identity is addictive. It gives people a role to play, a side to cheer for, a reason to fight. But here's the tragedy. When the illusion breaks, when the myth collapses, what's left? For Napoleon, it ended in exile twice. For Trump, it ended in impeachment twice. And yet, even after they fell, their stories lived on. Napoleon became a legend. Trump became a movement. Because when propaganda works, it doesn't just manipulate the moment. It rewrites memory. It replaces nuance with certainty, doubt with loyalty, reality with myth. And it doesn't matter if it's printed on paper or posted online. Propaganda doesn't care about the medium. It only cares about the mind. So the next time you read a headline that feels too perfect, ask yourself, is this information or is it narrative? Is this reporting or is it recruitment? Because the tactics haven't changed, just the tools. Napoleon used bulletins, Trump used Twitter, and both understood. It's not about what's true, it's about what people are willing to believe.